Good Saturday morning. I'm meteorologist Nicole Hartford. Thank you for joining us here on 11 Alive Plus as we track our weather impact alerts and the potential for wintry weather across North Georgia this weekend. We have that weather impact alert today through Monday for the potential of freezing rainfall and kind of a wintry mix that leads to ice accumulation. So if you haven't already, you need to plan for travel impacts and the potential for power outages, especially tonight and into tomorrow. This is a large winter storm that will be spanning the continental U.S. with winter storm warnings stretching from New Mexico and Texas up through the Northeast. And here at home, we've got ice storm warnings as well as winter weather advisories. Right now, that winter storm is mainly focusing through Texas into Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, and even far northern Alabama. We do have a little bit of that wintry weather that's starting to show up in our neck of the woods, but it's important to note that across North Georgia, the air is for the most part still very dry. So I suspect that a lot of what is showing up on the radar right now is not actually reaching the ground. And in locations where we do have a little bit of something reaching the ground, temperatures are for the most part still above freezing. The exception there, and where we could already start to see some impacts, some slick bridges and slick overpasses because of wintry weather, is really stretching from Chattooga County out towards Gordon and Gilmer County and up to the northwest. So this little northwestern quadrant of the state, that's where we could start to see some slick bridges and overpasses within the next few hours as we continue to track this wintry mix. For most of us, though, as I said, we're not seeing a lot of this, if any of it, reach the ground, and temperatures are still above freezing. In most locations, pretty far above freezing. We're in the low to mid 40s this morning, 44 in Atlanta right now, 41 in Canton. These temperatures are going to help us out. It will be one of those days where it gets colder throughout the afternoon instead of getting warmer, but because temperatures are on the mild side right now, that gives us a little bit more of a transition period before road temperatures and before the ground drops to the freezing point. So even once rainfall begins, it'll be time before we start to see icy impacts. This is our view right now as we look from our tower camera in DeKalb County at Arizona Avenue towards the city of Atlanta. It is overcast, but at this point it is mostly dry, and that will be the case for a good chunk of the day today. Things will just get going as we go through the next couple hours. So we'll start to bring in a little bit of wintry mix throughout the day today. For a lot of us, anything that falls during the daytime hours today is going to just be rainfall, but the further north you get where temperatures are a little bit colder, that's where it becomes more likely that we could see some sleet or even some freezing rain. So throughout the day today for those northern counties, we may already watch as untreated roads, bridges, overpasses start to turn a little bit slick. By tonight, that's when things pick up. So accumulation is going to intensify, showers become more widespread, and as temperatures drop into the 20s, we'll transition from more of a cold rainfall to a freezing rainfall. So tonight and into tomorrow is when the real impacts take hold. We're talking roads that turn slick and icy. And then throughout the day on Sunday, winter weather will continue for many, but we're watching temperatures very closely for the potential of a little bit of a warm up, enough of a warm up for some of us to transition us back from sleet and freezing rain to a cold rainfall. Now tonight and into tomorrow morning, as ice starts to accumulate, that's also when we'll bring about the risk for downed trees as well as power lines, which could lead to power outages by tomorrow morning. And it looks like this will be an impactful winter storm across all of North Georgia, with hazardous roadways expected, and again, that risk for some power outages. So the main timeline for that is going to be tonight and into tomorrow. That's when I think impacts will be the most widespread, but we will continue to see in some spots accumulating ice even into the day tomorrow. With the anticipation of that accumulating ice, we have ice storm warnings in effect through Metro Atlanta and across a good chunk of North Georgia. Those locations highlighted in this purple ice storm warning, that's where we're expecting the higher ice accumulation. So we're talking a quarter of an inch or higher. In some spots, that could be as much as a half to even a full inch of ice accumulation. So that's significant ice accumulation that will lead to hazardous, if not impossible, road travel and also power outages. Down towards the south, we have a winter weather advisory, so not expected to be quite as impactful, but we'll still see some impacts from that wintry weather. This is is just one forecast model, but it gives you an idea of where ice potential is expected to be the highest. I think this northeastern corner of the state is where we will see the bulk of the more significant ice accumulation. So we're talking totals there of about a ½ inch to an inch of ice accumulation. If that occurs, that would lead to widespread power outages as well as impossible road travel. That is major impact from an ice storm that we're anticipating up towards the north. Through the Atlanta metro, the I-75 corridor, we're expecting moderate impacts, so still going to keep you in your house, still going to make for slick roadways and power outages, but maybe not quite to the extent of what we're expecting to the northeast. And then as you go southwest, minor impacts, if any at all. Ice accumulation, though, it does not take much to start seeing impacts from it. 1/10 of an inch is when a light glaze begins to form on roads and sidewalks. It leads to slick bridges as well as coated windshields and isolated power outages. By 1/4 of an inch of ice, we're talking icy roads, tree limbs sagging and breaking, and numerous power outages. A ½ inch is where it starts to become really significant damage with dangerous, if not impossible, travel on roads, widespread tree damage, and then long-term power outages possible. Here's how it plays out hour by hour on our forecast track. So we'll watch through the next few hours as some of those isolated showers continue. As I mentioned, it's really just those northern counties at first that are cold enough to sustain any type of wintry weather. So we could see some sleet up into those far northern counties, or even some ice starting to form on bridges and overpasses throughout the morning. Temperatures for much of North Georgia, though, are going to stay above freezing for a good chunk of the day today. Showers will start to become more widespread as we get closer to the sunset, and that's when temperatures really fall. So by midnight tonight, we're going to be below freezing across much of the area. We'll watch as those showers transition to more of a freezing rain, and this is when the ice accumulation will really start to pick up and things will become more dicey. Our conditions will deteriorate quickly overnight tonight because we'll have multiple hours of potential freezing rain and ice accumulation through tomorrow morning. As we go throughout the day on Sunday, some spots through the Atlanta metro down towards the south and off towards the west will get to see a little bit of a warm nose as our wedge deteriorates. That'll keep temperatures a little colder up into this northeastern part of the state, where I think we may not manage to get above freezing. That would mean additional ice accumulation through Sunday morning and even into Sunday afternoon in some spots up towards the northeast, while for the rest of us, this transitions to more of a cold rain once again. And at times, that rain may be heavy as this line of showers moves through. We may even get a couple isolated embedded thunderstorms associated with this. There is a severe weather threat tomorrow down towards the south of us into South Georgia and South Alabama, as well as portions of Florida as this system moves through. This is just one forecast model, but it does paint a good picture of above freezing temperatures for the metro and down towards the southwest by Sunday afternoon. This would be beneficial because it could help to melt away ice that has already developed, and it would also stop any additional ice accumulation. But notice at this point, temperatures into the northeastern sections of the state are still right around the freezing point, which could mean not only additional ice accumulation, but not able to get rid of any of the ice. While that rainfall is beneficial in that aspect, it's also going to leave the ground pretty wet as we go into overnight Sunday night and into Monday morning, and that's when the truly cold air arrives. So Arctic air is going to swing southward by Monday and Tuesday. This will bring about a big drop in temperature. So by Monday morning, we're down into the teens and the 20s. By Tuesday morning, we're down into the teens and the single digits. That does mean that any water that is left on the ground Sunday night will likely refreeze by Monday morning. So if you're at your house, you notice maybe some of the ice is melting Sunday, it could still refreeze and lead to areas of icy patches Monday morning across the metro. Up towards the northeast, where temperatures tomorrow may not get above freezing, this is also going to pose more of a risk for extended power outages because crews will not be able to get out on still frozen roads on Monday or Tuesday. And in some spots northeast of Atlanta, We won't be climbing above the freezing point until Tuesday afternoon. This bitter cold air will also pose more of a risk for those people who do lose power, because temperatures inside your home will likely drop pretty rapidly as we get down into the teens and the single digits on Tuesday morning. So be ready for some very cold air in case of a power outage. As far as our conditions go into Monday and Tuesday, though, the sun will come back out. So once that wintry mix and rain ends on Sunday afternoon, I think the event is pretty much done with as far as additional accumulation. It just becomes the cold temperatures that we're dealing with. We will continue to track this winter storm across North Georgia as that wintry mix and ice moves in today and tomorrow. We'll have live updates here on 11 Alive Plus as well as on air.